It's Wednesday night, and that means it's time for the Lamar Thomas Show, featuring the greatest receiver in the history of college football. Just ask them, Lamar Thomas.
I was born in Ocala, Florida. I moved to Gainesville to go to high school. Been recruited probably since the 9th grade, illegally, I might add, by the University of Florida. I still can remember Coach Solinger, Don Solinger, coming out to our practice one day. Here it is, this guy comes out in the University of Miami jacket, and I said, I can't believe that's Miami out here. And, you know, I wanted to go up and say, hey, I'm Lamar Thomas. And actually, I did walk up to him and I said, hey, Coach, I'm Lamar Thomas. And he said, I know. And that was the start of my relationship with the University of Miami.
Patton, another good block, and Toretto lays it out. Touchdown, Miami!
You come down here, you'll be on TV every weekend, dominating. I thought about it. I said, man, where do I sign? My mom, on Saturday mornings, I would wake up and she'd be holding my hand. I thought she was the weirdest lady in the world. But she was holding my hands and she would be rubbing them and saying, one day these hands are gonna make you a lot of money. She was smart.
So now, here he is, the great one, along with co-host Gary Ferman of CaneSport.com, Lamar Thomas.
What is going on, LT?
I am happy after a great win by the University of Miami. That's 18 straight home openers, Gary. 18 straight. Can you believe it? 18 straight. I'm happy.
Well, hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman. He is obviously LT Lamar Thomas, and we welcome you once again to another week of the Lamar Thomas Show, presented tonight, as it is the entire season long, by Caneswear, your ultimate source for all your Miami Hurricanes merchandise needs. If you have not loaded up for this season, it is certainly not too late. Big home game at Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday against Ball State. You can go buy Caneswear before the game and get all your T-shirts and hats and all your Canes gear. They have tailgate gear for you guys, and then get yourself something to eat. I'm not going to give the sub shop next door a free commercial tonight, but it's a pretty good one. And then you can go on down to the stadium, enjoy your tailgate. So Caneswear is at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. You can see the store behind me here on the show, behind Lamar. As you could tell, they have just about everything you could possibly want if you're a Canes fan. And you got to go get yourself a Cam Ward jersey. I mean, if nothing else, you got to have a Cam Ward jersey this year. So get on over to Caneswear, and we'll be talking more about Caneswear during the course of the show. But LT, we got to start tonight by looking back to what we witnessed on Saturday. Not a huge surprise. You know what the biggest surprise for me on Saturday, and actually we do a You Bet CaneSport show with a sports handicapper by the name of Lee Sterling. And Vegas didn't put a line out on that game initially. And then Friday, they came out with a line, and they made Miami a 45-point favorite.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Miami won by 46, right? So, I mean, that's absolutely unbelievable. And look at what had to happen for that to happen. They had to play Cam Ward all the way deep into the third quarter. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. I know a lot of us, yourself, myself, and many more were having heart palpitations when he went airborne to get that final touchdown on the left side of the east end zone at Hard Rock. And, but it just blew my mind how they hit that almost right on the nose, and all the things that had to go on, Lamar, to make it happen at that exact margin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just now getting accustomed to all this gambling talk since it's now legal. But when I had someone ask me in the stands, what was the point spread? And I'm like, I don't know, like 20 points. And I looked it up and I'm like, it's 45 points. Like, who gives somebody a spread like that at 45 points? I'm pretty sure the NIU spread against Notre Dame was not 45 points. I'm sure Notre Dame was not trying to win, but I'm sure they picked our game 45. That is a lot of points. And the fact that we needed all of them. I mean, they were pretty much on point with it. I guess Vegas knows. I guess I don't know, but that was when I saw 45. I was thinking maybe 20 something, 28, but not 45. That's a lot of points, especially for a Florida A&M team that's obviously the best team in Tallahassee. And a good 1AA, what they call it, FCS team now. They're going to have a good season. They're a good team, well coached. But 45 points, that is a lot. And the fact that we hit it, that says a lot. That I know some people are up there. Now I see why people were still in the stands. they had their bets.
All right. Well, so many things and angles to this that we'll be talking about tonight. But I mean, I'm already looking at the chat, and we'll be going to the chat all night long. But 850 Kane is saying the nightmare is over, Gary and LT. The nightmare is over after 2 games. 850 Kane is sold. Miami's 2-0, and now playing Ball State this weekend. But the one thing we did learn this weekend is that there's some interesting weeks coming up ahead here. Like, South Florida goes to Alabama and plays them even for 3 quarters. Now, I know they got blown out in the 4th, and Alabama took their game to another level. They're a great team, and they exploded in the 4th quarter. But South Florida going to Bama and playing them even for 3 quarters got my attention. And then Cal goes to Auburn and beats them at Auburn. Now I'm like, whoa, these are 2 games coming up that I think everyone's already penciling in as victories. The Canes Nation has been told for so many months that this is an easy schedule this team's playing this year, and thinks that we're just writing in victories. But my question to you is, have you seen enough in these first 2 games? You've had a chance to watch them in depth. You've been to practices. Where do you think this team is right now, 2 games into the season?
Well, I think, Gary, the schedule fits perfectly for Miami's season. As far as you get a chance to, I was talking to some of the coaches on the sideline before the game, and I was just kind of going over the fact that, yeah, this is a pretty good Florida A&M team. Then you play a maybe even a little better Ball State team, and then you play USF, who we saw 2 years in a row give Alabama a headache. Whether it was last year when they benched Melrose, and this year he was there the whole time. They gave him issues for 3 quarters. And then you have the Cal game. I mean, and then you down the road, there's a Virginia Tech. It's a tough. I just like the way the schedule is made up, primarily because these opening games, the FAMU game, which some of the young guys got some playing time, and this Ball State team, if we go in, take care of business early, get Cam out the game, maybe get some stats early and get him out the game, please, Mario, please. But it bodes well for getting young guys some playing time, and then step up to the plate with a rival team in Tampa. That's going to be a good game because a lot of those guys wanted to be at the University of Miami, and we have some coaches that were on the staff. I mean, it is a true rivalry game. It's not the Florida versus Miami. It's not the Miami versus Florida State, but this is a new rivalry that is taking toll. I mean, I even think that if I remember right, I think they might have beaten us one time because I think that was Randy Shannon's demise when maybe we lost to USF. I can't remember. Don't quote me
You're
on it.
remembering correctly.
Okay, all right. I try to forget
I
about
believe that was Randy's last game.
Yeah, I try to forget about losses to programs like that. Okay, so yes, USF, they have beaten the Hurricanes before. Randy Shannon's last hurrah as a head coach. So and Cal, I mean, look at Cal. When I saw that, I said, okay, wow. The only thing I could think about was the last time we went out there as Hurricanes. I was there. I think it was 80. It was 89, 91, 90. I can't remember. The years all roll together now. But we went out there, and I think Russell White, I think that was his name. He returned the kickoff 104 yards against us, and then we had to get serious and beat them down. But yeah, it was a very interesting place watching the people in trees. You can see people living in trees up there in Cal, wearing their Birkenstocks. So yes, it's going to be a very interesting game to go out there and play an ACC opponent and the USF game. So again, our schedule is not what people were saying in the beginning. It's not going to be breezy. We got to go out and earn these victories, but our schedule sets up well where we can gain some experience, get some depth, get some more depth, so these guys will be able to play against teams like this, and it won't be a fall off.
I think it's great. I think it keeps the team engaged. This is it's tough when you play back-to-back games like this against teams that you're 45 and in this case 36-point favorites over, and you can never take it for granted. But coaches try to tell you that, but you're taking it for granted. But I think the more of these teams that step up and play good games, I think it helps Mario and the staff in keeping these guys focused on getting better each week. And I know you were out of practice this week, and you saw it. They're not. This isn't like playtime because they're playing Ball State. All the starters sitting on the sidelines of practice doing nothing. They're treating this like they're playing Florida State. Like they're out there continuously working on their game and trying to get better. We mentioned earlier about how long Cam Ward was in the game. You mentioned just now that you're looking to get him out of the game. I don't know that you're going to see that. But let's bring in I see Izubee Charles. He's a guy that I know loves every second that Cam Ward is in the game because of the excitement and entertainment that comes along with that. And I see, welcome back to the Lamar Thomas Show, and give us your general thoughts on what we saw this weekend.
First off, I want to say I'm back, baby. Week 2. I felt like one of those freshmen waiting on the bench. Come on, Gary, put me in. Let me get on the LT show. But in all seriousness, thank you guys for having me on again. I wasn't too concerned about Cam playing in that third quarter. I thought he was going to get 3 drives in the second half. I don't think you can pull him 1 or 2 drives. And I know you said you guys were having heart palpitation, but I was like, man, you got to let the kid play some ball. I mean, it's still really early. He's still trying to get that, Cam Ward Heisman campaign going. Let him get a few more touchdowns, a few more yards. Obviously, if it was a huge margin, then take him out. But he even said it. There were some things that they wanted to work on. We saw they were messing up a little bit on those 4th downs in the red zone and things like that. Get those little kinks out the way. But I wasn't too concerned about him getting hurt or anything like that. But I did kind of open my eyes a little bit when I saw him dive in like Cam Newton in the end zone. But he got up, he shook it off. He was all good. So yeah.
LT,
I'm getting a little dizzy right now. I'm getting a little dizzy.
You played with a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Okay, what would have been going through your head if Gino Torretta was still in the game late in the third quarter against FAMU?
Well, first of all, Gino Marino, I've told him many times, you better get your behind down, cuz you ain't here to run. So you get down, take a loss, and then fire that thing to LT. I get the first down for you, baby. It's just like when we were playing FAMU back in the day. Gino got banged up. FAMU was bringing it. They hit him pretty good. We got to get him out. We got to get him out. We got to get a comfortable enough lead so that I think it was Frank Costa could get in there to get some experience.
it just made me nervous because our season is kind of wrapped around this magical young man who by the way, today my son and I, my 2-year-old, we got a picture with him. It was good to. It was a great picture to have. I know my son, when he grows up, he's gonna be like, "Who the hell is that?" And hopefully, Cam will have some magical moments this year and go on to maybe be a Heisman Trophy candidate or win the Heisman Trophy. And I can say, "Look, you took a picture with the Heisman Trophy winner." Yay! But he was very nice. There we
See if I
go.
can show the picture, get it to show up right.
He's very nice. There we go.
There it is.
There we go. He was very nice. You know, I felt kind of weird introducing myself. Like, "Hi, I'm Lamar Thomas. I used to play here at one point. No, I'm not up in the rafters. But can you take a picture with me and my son, please?" But he was very nice. I was watching him throw after practice with some of the receivers and just getting in some extra work. But that was yeah, we got to get him out. We got to get him out. I don't want him to play too long. I know I see you're young, but my heart can't take it because I know how important he is to our season. I would rather him get it early, get out, and I would like to see. Help me pronounce his name. Proffensberger. Proffensberger. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe I call him PB. Okay. I would like to see PB get in the game a little bit, run around like, you know, it kind of looks like Flutie a little bit, run around like Flutie and make plays like Johnny Manziel. And, you know, we good. We good with that. We good with that. But get out Cam. We can't afford to Cam. When he got sacked, how about it? We gave up a sack early in the game. I was down on one knee. I had to say a quick prayer. Please, let him get up. Let him get up. So he's very important to us. He's very important.
It's midway. It's middle of third quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and you know Shannon Dawson sides up next to Mario, and you know Mario says to him, you know, "How about one more?" Oh. One more series. And Shannon, you could tell, Shannon was thinking like the way you're thinking, like maybe it's time. But Mario said, "Yeah, let's go one more." And then they scored touchdowns on all 3 possessions of the third quarter, if my memory is correct. So
I get it, but it's still kind of scary. Go ahead.
So let's talk for a minute about why Mario might be making that decision. Okay. You got Cam Ward, who came here to showcase himself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Nobody's watching the FAMU game. Okay. All they're looking at is is the numbers, the score and the stat line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Cam Ward doesn't want to come out of the game. So that's the first element, I think, that comes into play. Cam Ward knows. I mean, people are saying he's the number 1 or number 2 candidate right now at this point of the season for the Heisman Trophy. Mm-hmm. And Cam Ward knows what winning the Heisman Trophy would mean to him now and as he goes forward in life, and what it would mean for his case to the National Football League to give him a shot, which is the whole purpose that he's here. If he already had that wrapped up, he wouldn't be here. He would be Correct. In the NFL right now. That's why he's here. So we got that element first. Okay, now we have the new age of college football as well, mm-hmm. With the playoff coming at the end of the year. There's no guarantees you're going to win the ACC. You're trying like heck to do it. No guarantees you're going to get to the championship game, number 1. Or if you do get there, that you're going to win it. And if you don't win it, style points are going to matter. And those people that are making those decisions, they're not watching the FAMU game either, Lamar. So Mario, I'm sure, is cognizant of all this. And he, as the head coach, is looking out for the complete body of work. And if it means playing his starting quarterback that he can't really afford to lose deep into the third quarter against FAMU, a team that actually sacked that quarterback, I think, earlier in the game, right? I think he's going to do it, and he'll do it again this weekend against Ball State.
Well, let's just hope we go out and execute, and we put up those numbers early. You know, it's just he's so important to this team. I think as far as his leadership and the way he carries himself, and I can just see the way those guys follow him. You know, I just think he's so important to the team that you have to somehow, some way, figure out a way to Mario has to be happy with the stats, but he also has to be happy with the fact that he's not hurt. So, he's going to have to figure out what's a happy medium for him to get him out the game, to see enough to put in the other guy in the field, confident in the other guy, because, again, we can't, like last year when Emory was in there, that one game, Florida State, he really showed what he could do. I felt real good about him. I was looking forward to seeing him come back this year. But obviously they want to redshirt him, and but he's a hell of a player. And now we have PB Prophetsberger. I think that's how you pronounce it. Please, if I pronounce it wrong, that's why I give initials. PB. He was running around doing some things, but it's a different style of ball with him. He's a lot shorter. He has to get out the pocket. I saw some balls maybe even batted down in the FAMU game. So it's a different style of offense as far as moving him around the pocket. I think Cam can stand in the pocket if he wants to, but when he feels pressure, he does move and look to throw. But we got to get the other guys some reps, and those guys got to feel comfortable. He has to feel comfortable with receivers and his O-line for him to be successful too.
I see Lamar's making a great point in that the styles of the quarterbacks on this team are distinctly different. I mean, we don't know who the true number 2 is. If Mario and Shannon Dawson, if something happened to Cam Ward and they had to make a decision on who is going to start a ball game, I'm not personally so sure that Emory Williams wouldn't get that call. But the styles of those 3 guys are different when you look at Reese and Cam and Emory Williams, who's the traditional drop back passer in the group. And it seems like you're right, Lamar. It's like it's important to get these guys reps so that the team is used to playing with them if they ever have to in the heat of a battle. I mean, we saw what could happen. We're at Florida State last year, and we were in that ball game. I mean, that was a 7-point game with like 4 or 5 minutes left when Emory Williams goes down. I mean, you're thinking like you got 2 more chances to possess the football to score a touchdown and tie that game. So it can happen, and it can happen at the worst moments where you got to make a change of quarterback. So I think you're onto something there, that those reps, would be valuable. And I'm going to tell you something else. You played with a guy that won the Heisman, and you can smack me down and tell me I'm wrong if you want, please do. But I would say that Cam Ward, based on what I've witnessed here in spring and fall drills in these first 2 games, is more important to this 2024 football team than Gino Torretta, the Heisman Trophy winner, was to your team.
Ooh.
How about that? Process that one, LP.
Hold on, man.
Gino will still talk to you at the,
You got me a little speechless right now, buddy. He's very important to our team. He had a lot of guys around him. This Cam guy, he's very important. He's very important, man. He is
walking out thin ice right now.
I mean, granted, I didn't want to see Gino go down for sure. I promise you that I did not want to see him go down. And we might have been okay, but I can't see this guy Cam. I'm telling you, nobody was crying saying, I can't believe we have Gino Torretta at quarterback. Nobody said that. I've seen people, grown men, saying, I can't believe this is our quarterback. I see women, children, I can't believe this is our quarterback. No one's ever said that about Gino. So I love him, but this guy is, for what we've been through and what we've endured the last couple of years, we haven't seen this here in a while. We haven't seen a guy in that much control and that valuable. I mean, TBD, when he was playing well, he's valuable, but this guy is this is on a whole nother level right here. This is some Lamar Jackson valuable type stuff. Like you got a guy back there that's pulling all the strings and can pull all the strings, make all the throws and make all the runs, in control, full control of the offense. A coach's dream. a coach's dream to know you have a quarterback back there. Now you got to make sure the O-line keeps him upright and healthy so he can make it through this whole season.
I see. I don't think you were born when Gino and Lamar were tearing it up, but you missed something else. I'll tell you that. But I'm sure you certainly can appreciate what Cam Ward means to this team. I mean, we've seen it up close and personal.
Yeah, no, this I'm kind of like Lamar. I'm kind of speechless when it comes to just how important Cam Ward is to this team. Obviously, you know, Reese Poffenbarger is a good quarterback. Emory Williams is a good quarterback. But if you switch out, you know, one of those guys for Cam Ward, I'm just like, this isn't the same team. Simply, obviously, the surrounding pieces are a big help. But just having that general, having that guy that's that leader at quarterback is something that you can't put a value on. Obviously, Miami did, you know, put a value on Cam when they got him. But you know, just having that type of leader, having that type of guy that can make plays with his legs, make plays with his arms, do a little bit of both. Obviously, Reese, you know, really can run the ball. Emory can't really run the ball like that. So just combining those two guys and just having him and just all the experience he has playing 4 years of college football before, that's priceless, honestly. And obviously, you know, I wasn't around when Gino was throwing Lamar touchdowns, so I don't know how valuable he's. But I mean, he won a Heisman, so he had to be some type of good.
It's on black and white TV, dog. I mean, it's on called VCR tapes. You probably never heard.
No,
of
I used to have VCR. I used to watch the Rugrats on VCR tape.
Yeah, we were with the Rugrats back then. Yeah, we were with those guys. We were with those guys.
Yeah, no, Cam Ward to me is he's the most important person on this Miami Hurricanes team. I think by a long margin.
So 850 Kane, he wants to put an exclamation point on his earlier comment. He says it's Truth Teller Wednesday, and he's telling us that the nightmare is freaking over. Style points, okay? Obviously, Mario wanted to make sure he got the style points out of this FAMU game. Was he successful, LT?
Yeah, I think he got some style points. I mean, I saw some guys on you know, Cam obviously did his thing, you know, putting an exclamation point with the Heisman moment run. He had the one throw where he scrambled around and found the guy they called back. But some guys on defense, you know, Tyler Barron had 3 sacks, you know, perfect. That's what we need. You know, we need to get somebody to balance off the Bain effect when Bain comes back. You know, that's 2 guys you got to worry about. I think freshman had, what was it? Justin Scott had a sack and Elijah Austin had a sack. I mean, I love seeing that. Our secondary, you know, that's one of the key things I'm gonna be watching these next couple of games because you know, Brown is out. He's been hurt. Darryl Porter Jr., good player, been playing well. But for some reason, you know, we gave up 1 or 2 big plays, maybe a blown coverage. I don't know if it was a guy getting beat, but a blown coverage, we got to tighten that up. And I think for the most part, I think Mario has he got a lot of teaching tape out of that game, and he'll have some out of this game. We got to see some of the younger guys in action. Being able to teach them and correct them is important. And, you know, you can correct them in practice, but it's practice, you know. Game is a lot different. It's there. It's always going to be there. You can go back to it and say, okay, if that situation comes about again, coach already told me I got to keep outside contained, or I got to cover this person or that person. So I thought what we got out, it wasn't a sloppy game. We did have some penalties that we didn't have against FAMU, but it wasn't overwhelming. So hopefully this game going into Ball State, they'll clean up some things and it'll be a cleaner game. And we get to do it all over again. We get to see some good things, and hopefully they stay positive. We win the game. We get ready for South Florida.
You know, Jose Santos points out that Northern Illinois was a 28-point underdog going into Notre Dame last week. Ball State's a 36-point underdog this week, and they beat the Irish. So, like, this stuff does happen. I mean,
Mac after dark. Was it Mac action?
Mac action, baby.
Mac action, whatever it is. So, I mean, just being down there today, just watching those guys, they were focused. You know, Mario, you know, he kept bringing up staying focused. And I don't think they're really looking ahead. I think for a lot of those young guys, they understand this opportunity for them to get some playing time. And that's why I think watching them today, I still saw the excitement. It wasn't where, oh, ho hum, we got another game coming. It's not a big game. But I saw excitement because a lot of those young guys, they're still trying to get on the field. Guys are still trying to get the ball, trying to get their touches. Guys are trying to get tackles, interceptions, returns. So I like the enthusiasm that I saw down there today.
I'll tell you what I thought was absolutely criminal on Saturday. I mean, one of the worst offenses I've seen in many, many years. And I think you know where I'm going with this. I mean, how in the world and I don't know why or what or who wouldn't pay the money or, whatever. And I know, say Miami's not looking for extra expenses when they're sitting there, trying to deal with, $15 million of NIL and build new facilities and pay the expenses of this big time football program that we have now. But I don't understand how you schedule FAMU and the band isn't in the stadium. It just doesn't wash. I mean, how do you schedule FAMU, LT, and not find a way to bring the band to Hard Rock Stadium?
In-state game too. It's not like they got to travel a long way, but being on the other side of it, listening to, I have a friend that's still involved with the band, sent me a text message saying the band wasn't coming because they only offered them $40,000 for 315 members of 315 members of band and staff, and they were taking 7 buses, and the food and all that stuff and hotels. They got 80% of the band from South Florida. They wanted the night stay in the hotel. They didn't want to have to get on the bus and then get back. I mean,
yeah, they want to see that.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. People say, "Oh, well, you got 700,000 to show up." Well, that goes to the school. That ain't got nothing to do with the band. Right. The band is its own entity. What people might not know about HBCUs, the band is its own entity. So they need to be paid. And I tell you what, it probably would have put about 10,000 more people in the stands because that band comes, people come, they're staying in their seats, they're watching the halftime, and they might leave after halftime, but they're going to watch that halftime performance of the Marching 100. But yeah, it was kind of weird. I actually coached in the first game after the young man died, where the band was suspended. We came back the next year. I was at Hampton University. The opening game of the year, we played at Florida A&M, and there was no band. That was weird. So, yeah, that's a whole weird deal. You would think that the school would say, "Hey, we'll give you extra dollars to bring the band. It's all a good atmosphere. You put people in the stands," but they didn't have it, and it is what it is. And I feel bad for the FAMU kids because, hey, after you kick the field goal, they wanted to hear their alma mater, right? They wanted Marching 100. They wanted to strike again. They wanted all that stuff, but they didn't get it. So it was a weird kind of deal, not seeing the Marching 100 in the house.
Yeah, that was bad. All right, so the day, the real purpose of the day is to get a lot of guys playing time, and a lot of guys did play. I didn't count how many. I can't give you an exact count of how many played. How many?
22 true freshmen played, I'm pretty sure.
22 true freshmen, probably 60 guys on the team, I would guess, something along those lines. Got out there the other day, and really, if you think about it, there's this is one of a handful of games this year where they figure to be able to do that, just empty the bench to that degree. Izubee, I'll start with you. Did you feel like, in terms of roster development and getting guys out there and seeing where they are, that Miami got enough out of this game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even in the first half, at some point, you saw some freshmen in, like, on the defensive line, Cole McConaughey, Armando Blunt, Justin Scott. You saw Zaquan Patterson flying up and down the sidelines on special teams, hitting guys, talking, his crap afterwards too. We got some reps in the second half, and Coach Guidry kind of made that a point during the press conference on Monday. He said, hey, we want to get him in meaningful reps. We want him to be, next to Mish Powell so he can kind of learn what he's doing, making out those calls. And then in the fourth quarter, you see Cam Pruitt come up with an interception. You see Abram Murray, the kicker, he kicks an extra point and a field goal. You see Darius Hayes get an interception. Jordan Lyle get a touchdown on his birthday. So I think the young guys got, their fair share of time, and they use that time wisely, making a few big plays. And then at the end of the game, most of that defense was freshmen. I counted 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and I think 2 cornerbacks are all true freshmen. So that 2024 class definitely, got their fair share of time. And I think they did, what they needed to do to earn some time in the future when, situations may arise.
How about you, Lamar? What do you think of the young talent?
I liked him. I mean, obviously, the great thing is they were going up against guys that FAMU had 51 D1 transfers. So they were going up against guys that had played before D1. This isn't small college football. So, they got some experience. They went out there. It didn't look too bad. Some things they have to shore up, but it was good to see some of those young kids in there doing their thing. I like the depth in the backfield. It's a lot of guys back there, a lot of good running backs, and it kind of reminds me of the day, not saying they are those guys, but when they had Clinton Portis and all those guys in that room at the same time, this is a great running back room, and it's a great as a running back coach, you gotta love your room because you got all kind of different guys. You got power, speed, you got everything you want in that room with the additions of all the transfers and the freshmen that can run real fast. And I mean, that seems like a very fun position to coach, even though only 1 or 2 of them out there at the same time. That's where the problem comes in. And I talked to you about this earlier, Gary. What Mario and that staff are doing, not only they're coaching those guys, but I see them talking to a lot of the younger guys, and they're pumping them up. They're keeping them in excited. They're keeping them interested. Because here it is. You got guys that are transferred in. Some are freshmen. Some are even transfer portal guys. They need love. They want to have love. They might be 3rd or 14 now because you got depth, but at the same time, they got so many people on the staff, and it's good to see they're talking to these guys. They got their arms around them. That way, no one's sitting over there sulking, and that's the difference in today's games, because you have all these kids that are transferring that are, a lot of them are eye guys, right? They transfer for a reason. They're not getting playing time. They say the coach don't like them, or whatever the reason is. But they're eye guys, and so you got to be able to, even though you're winning ball games, it might be glossed over to the public, but behind closed doors, you got to make sure you're keeping these guys that came in there happy and talking to them, and not just throwing them on the back burner, because it's a long season, and 2, you want to make sure that there's no locker room lawyers, that the guys that he's like, oh, I'm not happy, and he's saying it every day, and then the guy that's sitting next to him that's been happy the whole time, he has that one bad day, and now he's not happy. That's 2 guys not happy, and it spreads like a cancer, and you don't want that. And I like what I see it in Mario's staff and the staff that he's built. They're really harping on that with guys to keep guys into it, because they don't want to see this thing implode from the inside out.
A couple of things jumped out at me. Ruben Bain's on the injured list. He's not playing. Mm-hmm. And he's out there in pregame warm-ups, and he's working with Cole McConaughey, the true freshman defensive end that looks like he's going to have a really nice career at Miami. Kid has a lot of, great motor, a lot of desire, and is just a really good football player. And I think we're going to see a lot of him the next few years. Ruben Bain's out there on the field before the game, and he's working on his hands and his technique in pass rush, and for about 5 minutes or so with Cole, and just reviewing everything that he's been taught, so that when he goes in the game, he's ready to, use the right technique. And I was really impressed by that. The guy, Ruben's not getting the play, and he's out there helping the young guy. And I've seen Ruben do that, before with Branson Dean last year. He does it sometimes with Anthony Moten, but that really impressed me. Zaquan Patterson, we mentioned him earlier. He had a couple plays out there where you just said, wow. And like, he's not ready to be a full-time safety yet. Maybe he'll get there this season. Maybe he won't. Safety is not the easiest position to play as a true freshman because of everything that goes into it. But he was really flashing to me at times. And then nobody will even think about this, but the kicker, the young kicker, the freshman, Abram Murray, that kid has a leg. He might have a bigger leg than Andres Borregales, quite frankly. I mean, he was booming kicks in pregame warmups. He got a chance to go out there in the game, nailed it right down the middle. So there's a lot of encouraging signs. LT Mario uses the phrase, Miami is starting to look like Miami again. You played when Miami was Miami. That's all you knew in your life until you retired and came to this side of the equation, and everything went to crap, to be honest with you, for the last 20 years. But this is these young guys, and so it's part of Miami starting to look like Miami.
Yeah, it goes back to that conversation. I talked about it last week. I talked about it when Mario first got here, the conversation with him saying, hey, congratulations, but you're 3 to 4 years away from.
I'm sure you love that.
He's like, what the fuck? What the hell? Yeah, bro, you're 3 to 4 years away. And he's like, oh. I said, bro, we won championships because of depth. And I saw it start going off. I said, think about it. It was the 3s and 4s that won us championships because they were sometimes better than the 1s and 2s. And the 3s, when the 1s and 2s went out, the 3s and 4s went in, and you didn't want them in there too long because you might not get your position back. Depth. And on top of that, guys can't hold the coaches hostage by saying, hey, you got to play me. Well, no, we don't. We got Kevin Williams and Horace Copeland behind you. You want them to get on the field? No, I better do everything right. So that's where we are right now. He's building this program, and he's doing it the smart way. He's building depth. Obviously, when we talked about this 3 years ago, I said the problem is going to be it's hard to build depth when you're trying to develop that 3rd, 4th, and 5th guy, and another team says, hey, we'll give you $50,000 to come over here and be our starter. That's where it's hard to develop, but he's doing it. Like I said, they're doing a great job of keeping guys into it. You got to show everybody love. You got to get them all playing time, and this is a perfect time to get those guys the playing time which they need. Because, like I said, if our hopes are to go 15, 16 games deep, you're going to need all those guys at some point to be able to deliver and not be not putting a guy in and saying, oh, damn, he can't do that. But putting him in going, okay, he's in there. Woo-wee! We might not see that starter again this year.
I kind of want to add on to what LT was saying, because I think Shannon Dawson kind of gave us a little glimpse of that on Monday when he was talking about Emory Williams, because obviously they're trying to redshirt him, and he's like, hey, we're being honest with these guys. We're telling them, hey, you're going to redshirt this year, you're going to learn this year, you're going to take this year to better yourself. And I think that's a huge thing that you don't really get to see, or you don't see in college football. Coaches being straight up, being honest with these kids, not sugarcoating. And I think another thing too is getting the right kids that won't take that negative, like, oh man, I'm not going to play this year, man. I'm hitting the portal as soon as it opens in December or whatever it is. And I think, like you mentioned, stacking pieces, stacking, depth. Mark Fletcher talked about it too. I asked him when he had his press conference, I said, hey, that competition in the running back room, you got guys, trying to take your spot. He said, hey, it's healthy competition. We push each other, but at the end of the day, we want to beat each other. But at the end of the day, we all have the same purpose to win. So I think they're doing a great job. I just wanted to add on to what you're saying, is just stacking guys in multiple positions that, create the thing, like he likes to say, iron sharpen iron. And I think they're doing a great job of that with this team.
Yeah, they really are. All right, we got a guy that's getting ready to come on the show in a few minutes that loves to talk a lot, Lamar. Jeez. So we won't give away who he is, but I'm going to take a moment now while we can, because we won't be able to get a word in a couple minutes. And let's talk a little bit about Caneswear. You're in the store right now. You can see the store. behind me as well. And Caneswear really has become the top destination for the Hurricane fan to go gear up. And they got everything in that store. You could just see it from the pictures. It's the largest selection of Miami Hurricanes gear in town. We're talking about t-shirts, jerseys, polos, hats, hoodies, flags, decals, magnets, tailgate stuff,
golf balls,
even though LT, you need a lot of those golf balls. I know I've heard about you on the golf course, but it doesn't matter. Like men, women, kids, they'll even like dress up your pet. Okay, if you go into Caneswear, like they have everything for everybody and everything, and they even have gear. Mm-hmm. A lot of you guys aren't just fans of the Hurricanes. You like the Panthers, you like the Dolphins. Like I see here, he loves going down to the Heat games. Like they'll load you up with gear on other teams too. I mean, if you look over my left shoulder there, you can see a Dolphin flag up there on the wall right next to the Hurricane flag. So they will take care of you no matter what team you want to cheer for at Caneswear, where it's more than a store. It is an absolute experience to go there and shop. And in this location,
there we go.
There's a Heat hat.
There we go.
And in their location at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, they literally have it all. So get on over there on your way to Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday for the Ball State game. Load yourself up. Get yourself your Cam Ward jersey. Get yourself some T-shirts. Buy your wife or girlfriend something, to be a good boyfriend or husband. Make sure your kids are hooked up too. Lamar takes his kids in that store. Ooh. I mean, they tear that place up. Let me tell you something. You have never seen anything like the Lamar Thomas family go on the Caneswear. Trust me on that. So visit the store, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, or go to Caneswear.com, where you could shop their entire store 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Caneswear.com will hook you up. So Caneswear and Caneswear.com, make sure you check them out here in the very near future. Now, I mentioned that we have a guest coming on tonight. He's a talker now. I see if you want to go get, dessert, some ice cream or something, now is the time, because this guy, I'm telling you, like, I mean, I don't want to offend him. I've known him for a very long time. I watched, what a great player he was on the football field. I mean, I've heard him referred to as the mouth of the South. I've heard people try to put all kinds of different labels on him. For 20 years, when the Miami Hurricanes were terrible, he would come on our shows and he would tell us that Miami was winning the national championship that year. Mm-hmm. Well, now he has something to truly brag about. Okay, we have a real deal football team this year in 2024. No better guy to pound his chest about it than Mr. Kelvin Harris, former center for the Miami Hurricanes.
Don't hurt yourself, bro. Don't. You got your other Fort Myers guy in here. I see this guy's from Fort Myers. So,
hey, what high school you went to, man?
I went to Riverdale.
Oh, they trash. Yeah.
I mean, you come on our show already insulting the guy. He's not Bruce, okay? This is our guy.
Know they trash. You know they trash, but hey, man, you know what? Now, see, he young, but arguably one of the three greatest athletes that ever come out of Fort Myers went to Riverdale. Dude by the name of Walt Sutton. He was so good, he had got convicted of drug dealing, and he still got drafted by the Falcons.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Thanks to Dion, as a matter of fact. Because Dion told the Falcons that there was a guy in his hometown that was faster than him. They didn't believe it. They brought Walt in. He ran a 4.22 on a cold day without stretching. They didn't care that he was already convicted. They drafted him anyway.
Well,
now the the judge cared because she gave him 7 years.
Oh.
But when he got out of jail, he played 3 years in the Arena League in Tampa, as a matter of fact, Lamar.
Must be a Fort Myers thing. Okay. All right.
Hey, you know how it is, man.
Hey, man, I brought you on this show because obviously you played on the Hurricanes team and you were a pretty good center who moved from I just hate to say that, but you moved from linebacker to center, and you actually helped us out. You won 3 national championships, and you played a lot of ball after that. We appreciate having you on the show. But I really wanted you on the show because I know you're the guy that, like Gary said, no matter what our outlook on the season was, you said we were going 11-1, 12-0. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I'm like, Kevin, what are you watching? I don't know what we ain't that bad. We're not that bad. So now we have a team with a quarterback. So we're going to let you talk about your outlook on the team since you've been throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it'll stick. So go ahead.
Well, first of all, when I used to say that, when I've said that every year, I look at our roster, I look at our opponent's roster, and the reality is most of the time we got better talent than the other team. Now, of course, there's underlying factors that the staff ain't telling everybody that you find out later. Because like when Hurley was there, I'd be like, man, what happened? Oh, yeah, such and such had this going on. Well, they, of course, ain't telling nobody that such and such was a fool. Just like last year, turns out that we had a quarterback that read coverages like Ray Charles.
Oh.
Nobody really knew. I mean, we kind of saw it, but until ESPN came and did a deal where he basically said, I don't want to read no coverages, let the coach do it. We didn't know he was a blithering idiot. But this year, after we left, Lamar, you was down there at spring practice. After we left spring practice, we was like, wait a minute. We actually really do have something. And then let me tell you something, Gary. The Thursday before the game against Florida, Lamar hit me up and said, hey, man, we good. I just left practice. So when Lamar said that, I was like, wow, we really are good. Because, hey, man, he's not giving out any credit. I mean, oh, by the way, I see y'all got a DEI hire in there. Y'all got rid of the old, decrepit white guy and brought in the young, diverse black dude.
Oh,
good job, Gary.
This guy, man. Why did we put him on the show? So Kelvin, as I have to call you on air, that's not what I usually call you. Pretty vulgar, but we won't say those type of words. So Kelvin, what have you seen this year that you've really liked, and what have you seen that you want us to improve upon?
Well, I'll go back to when Mario got the job. I remember a conversation I had with him. As I perused through all the cursing and name calling of Manny Diaz during the conversation, what I got for him was we need to improve on the lines. And that was his major goal, to go make us an SEC type offensive defensive line. And over the course of the last 3 years, he's managed to do that. Now, I think the one thing that we didn't see coming was Tyler Van Dyke had some deficiencies that I think Rhett Lashley's offense hid.
Yes.
And when he brought Dawson in and they asked him to do more than, he was required to, he got exposed because that Georgia Tech game, that just was painful. And then, North Carolina State was painful. Hell, North Carolina, all of them were painful. All of the losses were painful that he was involved in. But we have a quarterback. I guess really, let's keep it 100. We have arguably the best quarterback we've had talent-wise since Craig Erickson.
I agree. I agree. Hey, Kelvin, we were talking earlier in the show that we might as well go to get your opinion on this as well as everything else, quite frankly. But we were talking earlier. He's in the game late in the third quarter. Lamar's having heart palpitations up there.
Hey,
in the suite, you know, and I know I was like, whoa, and I know Ice-T was because he was sitting next to me. He was like, oh my God.
When he made that dive, and I told him that yesterday because I was at practice on campus. I said, hey man, yo, don't be doing that. I mean, but you know, he said something to me that was funny. He said, man, I've been doing this. I said, no, I know, because I was watching you. Because, you know, we got to talking. Because a lot of people, it was a surprise. But when he came to us, I was like, oh, we got something. Because, you know, Saturdays, late night, you turn on ESPN and they got the, you know, the Pac-12 game. And he's playing at Washington State. So they obviously ain't playing prime time. So they playing the 9 o'clock game, which is like, or the 10 o'clock. Yeah. And he is running around like his linemen hate him because nobody's blocked anybody. He must be sleeping. I told him yesterday, I said, you must have been sleeping with your linemen's girlfriends because that's how they block like they hated you. And he was running around making plays, throwing dimes. And I mean, after I saw him in the spring, I was like, whoa, we got something. And I told all my friends, I told my Florida fans, my Florida State partners, I said, I'm going to be unbearable this year. I said, y'all going to block me. I'm going to be unbearable.
You're really like that in real life, though, regardless.
Yeah, but it's extra now. Like Corey Simon from FSU, I had to take it last year, you know, when we lost and then that Georgia Tech game. And I told him in May, I said, dog, just answer your phone after the game. Answer your phone. So after they lost, I ain't heard from him since.
So where do you weigh in on this? Okay, you know, obviously there's a reason he's still in the game. The style points, the Heisman race, beating the spread, the 45-point spread. I mean, all those things are probably factors. But people, like a lot of people, are scared to death. Like if he gets hurt, Kelvin, where's this season going? So Christopher Wright here is okay with him at being out there. He says scared football ain't football. Okay. Do you agree with that?
I was a little nervous, not because of how late it was in the game. I was nervous because you have some loser second string dude from FAMU who from South Florida playing in front of his family for the first time. And he trying to make a play, and he's terrible. And one of our linemen, Big 70, Bell, just runs him into the ground, and he messes around and falls into old boy's knee. And now everybody got pistols to their head, about to shoot themselves because, and that's what I was concerned about. I wasn't concerned about. I mean, I figured our offensive line could protect him. I was just nervous about some accident. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a story, quick story. Jason Medlock, former teammate of mine in the Canadian League, his son was committed to us, ended up going to Utah and is now at SMU. He tells me this story. We were teammates in the Canadian League when they had America teams. We're in Vegas together. So after Vegas disbanded, he ended up going to Calgary. So he's playing in Calgary, and in the preseason, the lineman that usually plays on the first team, both of them were out. So they put this slapdick third teamer guy in. He's rushing the quarterback. This guy gets Peter rolled into his leg. He never plays another game. That guy was Dwayne Johnson. And he tells me that story and we laugh about it. And he said Dewey was apologizing for about 3 straight days. I'm sorry. And then, you know, eventually they came in and got Dewey playbook, which led him on to that $7 or whatever, $25, whatever story he tells. But that's what comes to mind when I was during the game. I really was thinking about, like, man, I just hope one of these young linemen don't get Peter rolled into him, or he gets late hit out of bounds and gets knocked into the bench. you know, because you see it every
How
week.
about when he goes airborne? He goes airborne to score a touchdown and make it 46-9. Okay.
I told him yesterday, I said, dog, come on, man. We don't need that. We stop that. I mean, hey, man, he got a whole region of the country, you know, on his back. You can't be taking risks like that. We need to just get him in bubble wrap until Saturday.
Hey, Kev, let me ask you this. The team that's coming up, Ball State. And by the way, I noticed that you are drinking Mario Cristobal Kool-Aid. You have indulged in it. With the team that we got coming up, Ball State, you had a chance to talk to their beat writer, and what they got going on over there?
I was a vague conversation. We're gonna do the taping tomorrow morning, but they're realistic. He's just hoping they can make the point spread. He says, you know, that I guess they're kind of looking at it like how I was looking at it, but the opposite way. They're just hoping that nobody gets hurt. I mean, you know, and he was making the comment, you know, the brief time we talked about Cam Ward. It's like, God, he could win the Heisman. And I was like, yeah. I mean, right now, I would say Cam Ward, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers are the three favorites for the Heisman as of right now. Am I missing anybody?
You know, Deion's gonna be very upset with you.
I would say the old boy from Ole Miss, because they like to run up the score.
Oh yeah, Jackson Dart. Yeah. Well, hey, the one thing about Deion's situation, and I sent a message to Baby J today and D. Lou. I said, y'all better move that pocket, because if y'all don't move that pocket, because that right guard is point shaving. I mean, man, he is terrible. I mean,
and you're actually saying this to the coordinator and the D-line coach?
Yes, they agree.
Wow.
I mean, come on, man. D. Lou went to UM, and Baby J, I'm the reason why he coaching. So, you know, we keep it at 100.
I guess you do keep it 100. Sometimes you keep it 105, 110, 120.
That's the Fort Myers in it, man. You got to.
Hey, you know. Hey, but you was at the practice today, right?
Yes.
I'm talking about Lamar. Oh, you went to practice too?
Yes, I went to practice. Well,
this kind of to Lamar, like, I know I saw the picture with you and your son, but yesterday when I was walking around that campus, man, I thought I was like in Rio somewhere. I was like, what the hell is this?
Here
we go.
They were bulldozing my dorm a couple months ago. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I'm like, that was legendary years that I put in there.
Hey, Gary, get this. You know, Mahoney has a chef that cooks for them. Mahoney. I mean, what school is this?
So you walked around campus all day yesterday?
No, I had to go pick up my sponsorship check from UM. Okay. And the lady that I was talking to, her husband is the chef in Mahoney. And I was like, what you mean they got he does, he said, you could go over there and get almonds right now, 7 days a week, made the order. I'm like, in Mahoney? Like, what? I mean, the school we went to does not exist anymore. That is like a different deal. That's some old Buck Rogers type stuff going on over there. I'm surprised they ain't taking spaceships to class. I mean, that is just wow.
You're that impressed with the campus?
Oh my God, man. The area around the lake is unbelievable.
Wow. Hey, let me tell you something. And you've been over there, Lamar. The most impressive part is right over there in front of the Rathskeller. All them things that be sitting out there in them two pieces with their biology books and their economics books. It's like they went straight to Central Casting to get every woman. There are no big girls on that campus. I mean, man, that is impressive.
Oh, man.
I don't know where to go now, Kevin. So the campus is impressive, huh? And that's why we're winning recruiting deals, huh?
Well, I'm gonna say this. It was yesterday. Me and Mario were talking about this particular recruit, and I basically said to him, "Hey, man, you know he's trying to bleed y'all for some more money," and he was like, "Yeah, I know." I said, and he looked at me and he says, "Kelvin, look at all this. We can get anybody we want."
That's true.
And I looked around and we looked at each other and we were just like, "You're right. We can't." I mean, we are the fine girl in the club. That's why we got our skirt halfway up our leg. We got our breast showing. We got our nails done. We are the fine girl at the club.
Okay. Put my glass.
I mean, we are it.
Okay.
And hey, we can actually the conversation I had yesterday with the lady at the building. We need to go ahead and bring the chain back. We need to just BUM. Let's just BUM.
That's not happening.
I don't think we need to bring the chain back. And I know Mario for sure is not going to bring the chain back because Manny invented that. So there's no chance of the chain coming back.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. I brought it up to him yesterday. He's like, "Come on, Kelvin. Come on, Kelvin."
I was amazed he let it go as far as he did in Gainesville. I mean, it was the U Part 4 in Gainesville. I'll tell you that. After that game, oh my goodness.
It was Florida.
I mean, we had assistant coaches digging up chunks of sand, like turf, to pretend like we had a cemetery.
Listen, Florida is that relative. Florida is that relative that nobody likes. When they come to the family reunion,
running off the field saying, "I know how to slay gators." Remembering the days in Louisiana where he used to wrestle them or something in the swamps. Mario dropping F-bombs in the locker room, players filming them. It was like,
I gotta be honest. Yesterday when I was over there at the campus, and Lamar, me and Roland was sitting at the little lunch table eating after practice, and I was thinking to myself, I remember when me and you came to practice in the Louisville week, and I was just taking in. I was remembering how it was then, and I was looking at how it was yesterday, and it's just totally different. It's like the kids got a different swag to them. I mean, the coaches it was just a festive time. Everybody was feeling good about themselves, and they're not trying to hide it. And then, I was joking around with Cam Ward, telling him, "Hey, you got a bullseye on your back. Every girl in South Florida know who you are now. You can't go to Publix without security because they are trying to secure that bag." And he was like, "No, I got my gal down here." And I was like, "Well, that don't mean anything. I mean, she got a bullseye on her back too." I mean, but they just
please. He's about to win the Heisman Trophy. Let him focus on football.
Well, the thing about it is he has a great mindset. He was like, "I don't go nowhere. I just, it's me and my gal. We at the house." And he is focused. And I think he got the whole team focused. Right. He got everybody feeling good about themselves over there.
Kelvin, I said earlier in the show that he is more valuable to this team than Gino Toretta was, back in the guy that won the Heisman Trophy.
I had the same look, though.
Lamar was like, "Whoa."
I mean, wow. Well, I will say this. I don't think we could have won a championship with Frank Costa. No, I know we couldn't have won a championship with Frank Costa because, we had some trying moments. And, Florida State, I mean, come on, you was in the huddle when Gino basically told Horace, if you drop that pass, you got to walk back to, Gainesville. I mean, Coral Gables. I mean, Gino, I think from a physical standpoint, wasn't the most physically talented. He wasn't even in the same ballpark talent-wise as Craig. But, he was a smart guy. He made mostly good decisions. And he got the ball to his playmakers. Plus you had Lamar, doing his laundry, making sure his homework was done. I mean, washing his dishes.
Wow.
So, but is Cam Ward more talented than any quarterback we've had in the 2000s? Yes.
He is.
More talented than Dorsey. I think from a physical standpoint, physical talent, I think the only one that probably had physical talent like him was Kyle Wright.
Mm.
But Kyle Wright was softer than baby poop mentally.
Kyle Rome.
Yeah.
How about the leadership factor, Kelvin?
That is, wow. Yeah. Like the story Michael Irvin tells about the one kid that was catching passes with Lamar Jackson. I mean, I think that's what this team needs. Somebody, a quarterback like that. Well, you was with Marino. Is that something that Marino would have done?
Well, I called him at the end. You know, he still was staying
Pretty
out
ornery.
there. Yeah, but he still was that guy. But you know, that's what leadership to me. Trent Dilfer didn't do that in Tampa. I tell you that. You know, but you know, they're guys that they just have this quality about them that you know that they want to get better and they want you to be better, so it makes the team better. So I mean, yeah, that Trent Dilfer definitely didn't have that quality.
Yeah, but well, you didn't have. Did you play with Sapp, right?
Yes, that was on that team.
Well, that's the thing. Sapp and Brooks led y'all team, and I think Trent was, when you were playing with Trent, he was mentally shot because remember he was supposed to be this top flight quarterback. He got in there and just stunk the place up, and you know Sapp was tormenting the man. So I mean, and then of course he was getting it from the press, and so basically he was just holding on. But then when he went to Baltimore, they basically told him just shut up and hand the ball off. I mean, and he did what he did, and he got a ring.
So let me ask you this, Kelvin. Let me ask you this. When you look at that running back room, I mean, what stands out to you?
They deep. I mean, the two main was Fletcher and Martinez. Wow. To use a phrase that Butch Davis used to use, bowling balls of butcher knives. I mean, but then you got the freshman kid, Lyle, and I'll tell you what impressed me about him was his pass blocking.
Yes.
Which is why he's playing probably in front of the Chris Johnson kid, because the Chris Johnson kid is, well, you play with him on the college football 25. He's uncatchable.
Fast.
But I don't think he's up to speed in the pass pro. And that's the one thing that no coach is going to do with their quarterback. They're not going to put it back in the game that can't pick up the blitz. But man, we 4 deep with them. And then what about the AJ Allen kid? Has he got a chance to play yet?
Yeah, he played the other day.
Okay,
so we're what?
That's another name that's added to that list. I mean, that's like 4 or 5 guys that
five deep back there
that can come in there and do some things.
Hey,
5 carries, 25 yards.
Hey, we got a kid coming next year that's faster than Chris Johnson.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Gerard Pringle. Yeah. I mean, he ran through. Was it Gary? Was it Central or
Norland? Norland. First
Norland.
Yeah. Open a can of you know what on their team.
Man, he tore their ass up. I mean, wow. So I guess right now the ball is rolling, and I guess the only question is, after this year, who's going to be the quarterback to keep the movement going?
Well, let's talk about the O-line since we're talking fat boy ball. That O-line. I mean, could you have played on this O-line? I don't think so.
Man, please. Hey, no disrespect to Carpenter, but he ain't me.
Tell me a little bit about what you think of the O-line, Zach Carpenter and those guys.
He is solid and he's smart. He's not real athletic, but he's got good technique, and he knows how to use his, he's not a huge guy because I think he's about 305, but he gets good position, and watching him, he's smart. He knows what he's doing. The one that surprised me was Rodriguez. The fact that he started the first game, because I kind of talked to him a lot because he was playing center, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I thought he was. I was sensing that he was a little down last year. So, he started following me on Twitter. And so I started keeping in touch with him and talking to him and try to give him some tidbits. And I guess he, whatever was wrong with him, he rebounded because he started the first game. Now, he told me he'll be back in a week or two. But then Matt McCoy, who bounced around, he's sort of like a Swiss Army knife. He plays both guard positions. He plays both tackle positions. He's talented. But the right side with Cooper and Maragoa, in my opinion, is the best right side in the country. I mean, and Gary, can you tell me why Jalen Rivers didn't play? Did they just, because I meant to ask Mario that yesterday. Did they just sit him out?
He had some minor injuries coming out of the Florida game, so they decided to sit him out this past week.
Well,
I don't know if he'll play against Ball State, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, and Markel Bell actually looked pretty good. Now, mind you, he was playing against FAMU, and that's one step up from playing against Bruce for 40 snaps, but still. But no, and they got the one guy, I can't say his name, Onkalolo. Am I saying that?
Okinola, yeah.
He's going to be good. I mean, the offensive line, the young guy. I mean, in my opinion, Maribel is probably the best O-line country, one of the 2 or 3 best in the country. And it's weird when you see him, you can't believe that he's, I mean, you almost think that, like, is he the 5th grade? What's going on? But he is sharp as a tack. And then, of course, Mario is down there, and they also have Pata down there. So we have 4 coaches that coach the offensive line, and that's a great, it's coached well. But I got to give credit to JT. Jason Taylor and Salavera got the D-line playing great.
Yeah, we talked about them earlier, the depth. I mean, they got about 10 guys that can rotate in there, right? I mean, they got about 10. I mean, they got.
I tell you, the one guy that's really coming on, and it's going to be interesting in the future, is Justin Scott. He looked real good. He's looked real good the first couple of weeks. He got his first sack last week. He was the number 1 D tackle in the country, and I saw something where they said that he's exceeded their expectations. And then you got Tyler Barron, who it makes me question what's going on at Tennessee, because I watched him last year at Tennessee, and he was a good ball player. It doesn't make sense that he was so anxious to leave to come here, because no matter what we paid him, Tennessee could have matched it. And he was, they have the number 1 defensive end, I think, in the draft, in James Pierce, but he played the run and he pass rushed. And I think him coming here, he's going to put himself in first round consideration.
He's grown up a lot here, just in the few months he's been here. I think he might have had some maturity issues at Tennessee, some other things going on.
I heard there was some attitude issues. But I'm going to say this: guys come here, and I was just sitting at the table. I was sitting at the table with Roland, and we was eating, and I was just taking it in. You could just everybody was happy. So, yeah, I mean, you hear that from coaches all the time, but then let's just be honest. You left Knoxville, Tennessee, to come live in South Florida. I mean,
and be part of this.
I mean, how much recruitment did Mario really have to do? We're going to give you some money to move to Miami.
A lot. Both those D linemen, they made them work to win those recruitments. Tyler Barron and Simeon Barrow.
Yeah. Well, actually, Missouri tried to steal Barrow.
Correct. Yep. After he was already here.
Yeah, and then he came to his senses.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, you're talking about kind of the vibe and how everyone seems happy. Obviously, you won national championships. LT won national championships too. Is it comparable to when you guys were playing? I know it's completely different areas, but can you pick up some things?
It's similar, but it's different because let's just keep it 100. We were some savages. I mean, and yesterday I was at Mario's office and I was talking about something. Oh, I was talking about Amsterdam. I was like, hey, I still got the pictures. He's like, shh, because he had some parents in there and
Kelvin Harris, you're a great guest. We just don't know where you go sometimes. So I feel like I felt on Saturday when the quarterback was running. I was holding my breath.
but
it's like me broadcasting the FIU game again. You got to just hold your breath. You just never know where it's going.
I don't know if I could go that far, but actually, you know what? I really wanted to see you go down on the field and mix it up.
We weren't doing. Well, let's not go back to that, okay? Let's not go back to that. But Kelvin, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
In that secondary, what are your concerns? What, if any, concern other than the depth at quarterback? Who's behind number one, and maybe the secondary. What could your concerns be?
Probably, I guess, depth at safety, because the Frederick kid is balling.
Yes.
And I saw Selwyn at the game, and I asked him. I said, "What's up with his son? Is it Samari? Is that how you say his name?
Samari.
Yeah.
So we got the young guy on the show for. That's what we have him on the show. I see he's on the show for. Go ahead.
Hey, great upgrade, Gary. Great upgrade. I mean, you got a guy that doesn't need a diaper and can remember his name. Great upgrade. So Selwyn tells me that he has a minor tweak, and I guess that he falls in the same category as Jalen Rivers. So it's obvious that the staff has looked at the schedule and decided after the Florida game, let's hold a couple guys out and let them heal. But also, you able to get Frederick and Ryan Mack some reps. And then they just moved Robbie Washington to corner. So he's going to get a chance to get some reps. So when we get to the meat and potatoes at the end of the season, they should have the defensive back situation sold up, because they said they're going to give Zaquan Patterson even more reps. I guess safety's a little thin too, because it's just Powell, Jaden Harris, and maybe Zaquan Patterson.
In the Guidry system, the safeties have a lot of responsibilities. I mean, they feel comfortable with Zaquan out there, maybe 15 reps a game right now.
Now, but they're trying to build him up to where he gets a lot more reps.
The other day? Wow.
Say what?
He had a couple plays the other day that were incredible. Like, he really looked good. So yeah, they're going to want to increase it. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Well, the Frederick kid though. Yeah.
Hey, I was pleasantly surprised with the secondary. I thought the number 3 on the Wilson, the third kid from Florida,
yeah,
a big day, but he only had one catch, and part of that
he only had one catch.
Yeah, and I think that was on the sideline, a comeback, and that was so Darryl Porter Jr. followed him around the whole day.
Darryl Porter, I don't understand why Darryl Porter Jr. don't get more respect.
Yeah,
because I thought he played good last year. I mean,
Wilson actually had 7 catches, but for 50 yards.
So they must have been throwing him a lot of bubble screens.
A lot of bubble screens and stuff. Yeah,
we don't. I didn't remember
catch passes, the jet sweeps, and those kind of catches.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, because
that's why we have you here. Good point. The Jets.
Hey, the other guy wouldn't have been able to catch that.
Yeah.
Hey, just so you know, when all the jet sweeps were going on, I was messing with people in the stands, so I didn't even see them. But I did see. I did.
Count as catches. That's my bad.
I did see Porter Jr. following him around all day, and you know, I saw the one catch on the sideline that he had like a comeback or something, like out or something like that, and it was on a scramble. So, I mean, that makes me feel good about secondary because I thought that kid was gonna have a good day against us. I was hoping but he did.
But you know what? I don't think, to be honest with you, they didn't force him down our throat like they were supposed to. Like he should have been getting. They should have basically been saying, "We're gonna make y'all double team him." And I don't know if it was the play calling or the quarterback, but they just basically they didn't even try and force the issue with him, and they didn't have nobody else.
Something I was thinking is I feel like they should have used him how NC State uses Concepcion lineman in the backfield, get him moving.
Yeah,
he's that dynamic of a player, and I was kind of surprised they didn't game plan around him more and just like, hey, you're our guy, we're gonna get you the ball in any way we can.
Well, I think the backfield thing is a bit of a problem because if he lines up in the backfield, it's an outside run because he's nowhere near big enough to run. Between the tackles. So it's either going to be a stretch play or they're going to throw him a flare out pass because there's no way he running in between them guards. It's not going to happen. But it was just a pleasurable game. Lamar went down there, got him some grass, took pictures over the dead body. I mean, it was a grand time had by all.
Hey, man, I'm trying to move on. I literally have said to all the Florida fans, I am not going to troll them anymore this season. I am moved on.
I'm not. I'm petty. I am taking up Petty Lamar's place, and I am going to remind them, Florida State and Notre Dame. Oh man. I just was in euphoria on Saturday calling my Notre Dame people.
Hey, Kelvin, let me ask you this. So this Ball State game, what do you want to see out of the University of Miami?
I would like to see some explosive plays, and I would like to see Emory Williams play.
Well,
for that to happen, we got to be up, say, maybe 30, 35-0, 35-3 at halftime, get a couple quick scores in the third quarter. Hassan Pfeffer takes over, and then last 5-6 minutes of the fourth quarter, they get Emory Williams a little action.
But wouldn't you want to save him for a better game? No?
Emory Williams?
Yeah,
they're redshirting him.
They're going to redshirt him. He gets to play in 3 to 4 games, right?
Yeah.
I know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there because, I'm not sure. I said this earlier. If they needed a backup quarterback for real, I'm not sure he doesn't get the nod.
Yeah.
I agree, but I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm Emory Williams, you got to listen. I hate to say this because I shouldn't say. I'm going to say it anyway. If I'm Emory Williams, people, I'm like, I'm not redshirting. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Hassan Pfeffer is not going to be here next year. So Hassan Pfeffer, that's what I call him.
Who is that? Is that
the little midget backup quarterback?
I agree with you. I think he transfers.
Often PB. Just say PB, man. We can't.
Hassan Pfeffer. I don't think he's not going to be here next year. Let's just be honest. There is no way Mario is starting that dude next year. So he needs to get him as much snaps now and then go to somewhere like Buffalo or UMass, so where he can play James Madison. But if you're Emory Williams, you need to try and get those reps from him because I'm going to throw 2 names out there. Luke Nickel, who's going to be enrolling early, and a name I brought up yesterday to our current quarterback, Kyron Drones.
Who is the Virginia Tech quarterback? Am I correct?
Who is also Cam's cousin, who also spent the whole spring working out in the softer indoor facility with Cam and Shador.
Mm.
They all have the same quarterback coach, dude named Colbert out of
Eric
Texas.
Colbert. Select QB. I did a big story on
So you think he transfers to Miami to come compete with Emory?
He's not going to be at Virginia Tech next year. I've gotten a word from inside sources that he's going somewhere next year.
Right. Big money quarterbacks, huh? And don't forget about the kid at Florida. He continues to get better.
Woo. I'll tell you what, they're in a bad situation because if they lose this game to Mississippi State, to Texas A&M, and somehow they lose to Mississippi State, I don't see Billy Napier being their coach for Central Florida. You start Lagway, you don't have a coach. That's when the buzzards show up, and the bidding war begins.
I think they're going to go back to Merch.
To who? Merch.
They're going to go back to Merch, man.
Has he cleared a concussion protocol?
I mean,
it's been 2 weeks. He probably has.
Can't lose a starting job because of injury, right?
Well, hey, when your job on the line, well, you know what? Billy Napier act like he don't even care because he know he got $26 million coming,
but he can't open a water bottle. So
Oh my gosh! I mean, Florida. I just feel like I don't think Lagway is going to be at Florida in 2025. I could see him being our quarterback. I mean, but I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would make him our quarterback because. I don't know. Does he seem? I don't think he's gonna be ready.
I don't know, man. Emory Williams is pretty good. I'm gonna be interested to see how he holds up in the competition against whoever he has to compete with. He's really pretty good.
I agree. I think,
and that's what I want. I would love to see him in those 4 games where they're meaningful games. If we need him, and if not, then you go get your red shirt. But the games, the tough games. Not saying that Cam will get hurt or anything, but I would love to see him get some playing time in those games because
real work. Yeah.
Real work. Yes.
Real work.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is probably getting a little ahead of the game and maybe a little arrogant about it, but I think they're going to have to make a decision because I don't see anybody playing us close. I just left on our schedule.
There you go with that Kool-Aid.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you even think Florida State gonna make a bowl game this year?
I'm not even thinking about them. I'm thinking about Ball State, USF, and Cal.
Hey, when I walked by Dawson yesterday, I said, "Hey man, I need 50. I need 50 or 55 on USF. Come on, man. Don't let up now." Because their coach really thinks that USF is in the same ballpark as us. And because Alabama toyed around with them, they probably think, oh, we just 4 or 5 plays correcting it. We should be able to compete with Miami. We need to go in there and put our foot in their throat and be up by 35 or 40 at halftime so we can have this conversation of who played better, Emory or Hassenpfeffer.
I don't think his name is Hassenpfeffer.
That's what his mama called him. That's what I'm calling him.
I don't think his name is Hassenpfeffer.
Hassenpfeffer, hey.
I thought his name started with a P.
What's it called? Hassenpfeffer sound better.
Reese Poffenbarger.
Yeah, see, I just call him PB, dog. You or Reese. You changing the man's whole name.
Hassenpfeffer, though.
Like he the guy on Knight Rider or something. He on Baywatch. I don't know that guy's name, but whatever his name was, but I can't think his name. Anyway,
Hoffenheim.
Yeah, whatever the guy's name, I can't think of it. This is a guy on Gary, you remember that show Baywatch? It had Pam.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't watch it though.
Pamela
Anderson.
Yeah, what was her last name?
Yes.
Pamela Anderson. Yeah.
But they had the guy. I don't know his last name. He was.
Oh, you talking about David Hasselhoff?
Yeah, Hasselhoff. There you go. Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
I think that's where you kind of getting the words mixed up. Hasselhoff.
No, you know, on the
Pepper.
Bugs Bunny cartoon back in the day where the bald headed dude used to try to catch him with the gun. They had a little thing where Bugs Bunny was talking about we're eating Hassenpfeffer, which was rabbit. And so, you know, you gotta you gotta have seen it.
You're really showing your age. The kid doesn't even know what Buzz Bunny is, so stop.
Oh, that's right. How old are you, man?
25, baby. 1999. I'm a 90s guy.
No, you're not. You are a 2000s guy. I'm not even giving you credit for 99.
99. I'm we're all the same in here, man. We're 90s baby.
Similac baby, man.
I went on a recruiting trip to Fort Myers. I said, if Kelvin Harris came from there's got to be some more talent over there in Fort Myers.
Man, this dude, man, did you even see Kobe play?
Yeah, of course. I remember Kobe. I'm not that young.
Hey, Kelvin. We've given you an opportunity to, in the years past, to have your prediction.
13-0.
13-0. Where does that put us? 13 games? Where does that put us? What's that? We still got 2 more games to go?
No, we're gonna win the ACC championship, and I just think with a 3-game stretch to win a championship, I don't think it's even fathomable to predict winning the championship. My thing is we're going to win the ACC and we're going to be one of the 4 teams to get a bye. After that is because you got to think you got to play 3 games and you got to hope that you are going into that 3-game stretch relatively healthy. So if you have any major injury, let's just say you go and you win the ACC championship game and you have an injury to a key player. Well, that might change what happens when you do play the first game. And let's just say you do get through the first game, but you struggle. But the next team has a matchup advantage to take advantage of the missing players that you have. So it's just like, now I got to be honest with you. Looking at the country, I've seen everybody play. And the only teams to me that are on the same level with us are Georgia, Texas, Ohio State,
Alabama?
No. Oh, hell no.
No?
Oh, man. Wow.
I don't even see them being. Matter of fact, if we go through the SEC, I would go Georgia and Texas. They 1 and 2. Yeah. However you do it, they're going to be in the SEC championship game. And then after that,
I thought USC was playing pretty well.
USC looked pretty good. And it's ironic that you say that because yesterday when I was talking to Mario, he brought up USC. He says, don't sleep on USC. And, well, D'Anton Lynn has them playing better defense. But I don't know how they're going to hold up in that Big Ten schedule. And it's not because the Big Ten is so grueling. I think one of the things that people don't pay attention to is they're traveling from California to Michigan to Indiana and maybe even to New Jersey. That takes a toll. The travel part takes a toll on the players as well.
Ask Florida State.
Oof.
Don't forget about Tennessee, dog.
I think Tennessee is probably the 3rd best team in the SEC. And then I would say Alabama and LSU are fighting it out for 4 and 5. And then maybe A&M is in the top 6.
I'm still thinking Ole Miss is up there too.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, my bad. I forgot about Ole Miss. Yeah, Ole Miss is 3rd. Tennessee is 4th. And I think the top 4 teams will definitely make the playoffs. And but I was watching Ole Miss play on the little delayed broadcast. They look good, but
they haven't played anybody either.
Yeah. I mean, even though Texas lost their top 2 running backs, Texas is just better than everybody else in the SEC. Yeah. Now, I will say this. I don't think they have enough explosiveness to win the whole thing. And I don't think Georgia do either. Because Georgia's best receiver is our side piece kid.
Kobe.
How you gonna let our side piece be one of your best receivers?
Wow.
Wow.
All right, somebody asked, Pinellas Kane asked for, he actually spells your name Calvin. For Calvin, who's your second best team in the ACC?
Whew. Syracuse.
Oh, see, that's another game.
End of the year, Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah.
Is it here or there?
There in the dome.
There.
Oh, crap, we got to go to the basketball place.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know what. I don't know. Maybe Kyle McCord slept with Ryan Day's wife, but I don't know why they let him go, because they didn't get better at quarterback. I got a friend of mine, and Lamar knows him, Van Malone, who's the co-DC and the defensive backs coach at Kansas State, and we've been friends for a long time. So, I watch Kansas State because of V. Malone. Will Howard is trash.
Number
And
18.
yeah, and what a lot of people don't know is he didn't transfer because he was, sought after. He was transferring because Kansas State told him he had to kick rocks for the Johnson kid, because the Johnson kid is the most highly recruited and rated player out of Kansas in like 30 years. And his dad told him, y'all go give me this money and he gonna start or we leaving. So they told Will Howard, kick rocks.
Wow.
Okay.
But I just think that we're in a good place, and God willing, I just don't see I don't see how we're not in the semifinals.
Okay. Well, Kelvin, you have definitely exceeded your time. We appreciate you being on the show, and
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Gary,
By the way, let me
here we go.
preview. Lamar will be on my show this week. We will be talking about Florida and FAMU. Actually, we're gonna do two segments. We're gonna do the back in the day segment. We're gonna talk about how Mike Irvin lied to him about being his mentor at UM. Yeah, Gary, you didn't know that Mike lied to him to get him to come to UM.
I remember.
Of course, he also told
Mike he was coming to break all his records.
Yeah, I told Mike I'm taking his position too. And he
Yeah. Yeah, that sound like playmaker. Have y'all seen him on TV? You talk about a kid he was happier than a fat kid at cake camp these past couple of weeks. I mean,
he's a UM guy. And I mean, it goes down, and I gotta tell you this, Kevin, before you go, you gotta be out there with one of the greatest UM fans, because you love yourself some. If you could dress up in that Ibis uniform, you probably would. Because you love UM. Hey, I have nothing on you. So I knew tonight it would be a great opportunity for you to come on and show your love, and you drinking the Mario juice, your Kool-Aid over there in your cup. But we
wait a minute. Hold on. Check it out. You was there at the practice, right?
Yes, I was.
Did you go upstairs to the office?
To his office?
Or to the offices, period, yeah.
I went to the equipment room. That's about it.
All right, so when you go there the next time, before you go to the equipment room for the pillaging and ravaging, go upstairs. They have a dude walking around with a Cuban coffee thing, pouring out Cuban coffee to everybody.
And you got some? Is that why you're so hyped up right now? It's still from yesterday?
No, Cuban coffee don't do nothing for me, but I was just like, dang, that's what we doing now? Oh man. All we need now is a little band with some girls doing belly dancing, and we be all in.
All right. Well, we can't commit violations, Kelvin. We're on the right path. Let's go ahead and get this win. We appreciate you being on the show, I want to say big brother because you are bigger than me. So we appreciate it.
Not
Thank
by
you.
much. Not by much.
Okay, let's stop that. Okay, well we definitely appreciate you coming on tonight, Kelvin, and I will just call me tomorrow and we'll
Yeah, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you upgrading the show, Gary.
All right, Kelvin.
thank
Thank
you,
you, man.
Kelvin.
Thank
Yeah,
you
yeah.
for coming on.
Yeah.
Good night, sir.
Gotta love him, man. Kelvin Harris.
Hilarious.
Man,
All right, let's take a few minutes here and give some love to the guys that have been in the chat all night. I see in Lamar. I see you take this one, man. You've been kind of mellowed out up there. You're yawning. We're putting you to sleep, but Killer Cam, best quarterback in the nation. Yes or no?
I think he's up there. I'm not ready to give him that crown 100% because I feel like we haven't played a real meaningful game. I think around week 5 or 6, we still firing all cylinders. I'm giving that crown. He's the best in the country. I think he's in the top 3 for sure.
What do you say, LT?
I like that answer so far. I mean, he's showing the country what he can do. You know, obviously these next couple games, he gets through those, and I would say the USF game is another game that he will have a spotlight. You know, so we'll see. I mean, I like what I see so far. I just love his leadership. I just haven't seen this at our place in years. So it is very refreshing to see him conducting the business the way he is.
Johnny Blaze has a question for you, LT. When did you realize that you could become that playmaker at Miami, and how did you implement that mindset to those you mentor?
When I watched that freshman year, I played scout team. I really didn't know at that point, but when Dennis Harrison came in, everybody started at ground zero. And I knew I was a good enough athlete. I just knew I needed to get in the books, learn the whole offense better than anybody else to become more valuable. Sure up catching. I wanted to be a great route runner and catch the ball, make big plays. And once I started seeing that I could do that, it just became contagious for me. And luckily I had guys around me that pushed us all the time with the Kevin Williams and the Horace Copelands and those guys. Once Randall Hill and Wesley Carroll graduated, those guys were ready to go. And that's what it's all about. And we talk about depth. The depth that I was afraid of was the depth that I was a part of that those guys were afraid of. I pushed them when I was younger. So every opportunity I could to go in the game, I wanted it to be where it wasn't a fall off. I wanted to be the best blocker I could be. I wanted to catch the ball. I wanted to just make an impression on the coaches. And I was able to do that as a freshman, as a redshirt freshman, and then as a sophomore, I was able to start. So it was just awesome. And being a mentor, it kind of changes you too, because those guys are not only they're trying to take your position, but they're also looking up to you. So you change a lot of stuff on how you go about your day, studying and staying after practice, those type of things, because you are in a way a mentor and a leader.
And I'll just say, just from observation, Lamar does not shy away from playing that role. He extends a hand to all the young guys in the program, especially the receivers, and makes a big impact with these kids and even the coaches sometimes, and offers just a different voice sometimes, and it's very valuable to the program. Izubee, you're making a road trip up to IMG soon. We got a guy here, 850 Kane. He wants to challenge you to a 40-yard race when you're up at IMG. Are you in or out?
100%. I got the cleats in the back seat of my car. I'm
Okay.
I'm smoking them, man.
Well, how old is he? That's what I need to know.
He called out Lamar too. He said he wants to smoke with both of us. So
I need to know how old he is first before I make any. I need to see how big of a fella is he. I need to some specs. I need to know whether I'm gonna take the race or not. Now, if he's a big old boy, I might take that race. I think I could. My problem is I'm not going to be able to stop after 50 yards or 40 yards. I need about 80 to coast on through. I'm not putting on brakes, blowing out Achilles or knee or something. So I'm just going to let it slow down. Like, you know, those trucks up in Tennessee, they have these little side banks that you can just run off and run up a hill. That's me.
Yes.
I want to just, it'll slow me down at some point. There you go.
So let me ask you something. If you had to go out right now and run a 40 for real, and IC and I were timing you, what would you run?
I think I would get about a 4.9. 4.9. Yeah, I think I'd stay under the 5. I think a couple years ago at Kentucky, I ran 4.8 something.
And you didn't pull a hammy?
No, I so the 40-yard dash ended at the 40-yard line. I think I cruised all the way into the locker room. I just kept going. It was no putting on brakes. No putting on brakes.
Johnny Blaze says you play the teams that are on your schedule, but our schedule is actually treacherously misleading and will be tough.
I got something perfect for this. Coach Shannon Dawson said it earlier this week. You don't play the name, you play the game. No matter who you're playing, you focus on that game. Forget the name, forget the spreads, forget everything else. Focus on the game, not the name. And I think the kids are really buying into that. And, you know, like Kelvin was saying, they're just happy there's no drop-off because they're playing Ball State or anything like that. They look at it as an opportunity to be 1-0. I think this team's really buying into that mentality.
I like that. Yeah, this schedule, man, it's getting tougher by the game as far as, you know, you looked at Cal earlier and it was Cal. You looked at USF earlier, it was just USF. So it kind of got grouped into other teams. You look at Syracuse, it's just Syracuse. I mean, they ain't never been worth the crap, but here it is. They just beat Georgia Tech, who beat Florida State. So, you know, that's saying something for their program. Much improved team. Their coach, new coach from, I think he was a Georgia defensive back coach.
Yeah,
he has them playing pretty well. And Rondé Gasson's son is up there catching passes. So, doing a good job.
Pinellas Kane wants to know if we could play Emory in 4 games, what would they be? Here's my thing with Emory. I think he's really good. And I think he's the second best quarterback on this team right now. And I think if they had to make a decision because the worst, then we don't want to even mention it, quite frankly, happened, I personally would be surprised if Emory didn't get the call in that situation. However, he finished last year hurt. Okay. I'm not just throwing him out there on the field for the hell of it to mop up against FAMU or Ball State. Okay. He gets better work in practice every day. And he's been in games before you. He played Clemson and Florida State last year. Okay. So, you know, he knows what college football is about. I don't take a chance on him getting hurt again, me personally. So I don't know how much we will see him this year. I really don't. You know, I certainly wouldn't put him out there anytime soon. You know, I would want to get, like Lamar was talking earlier, he could play in 4 games. Okay. So if he ever did have to go in, you potentially could still redshirt him if you don't use him in these situations. I don't think it makes any sense to put him out on the field right now. And I would be surprised if they did. You agree, Lamar?
You know, I would. My whole mindset was saving him for the important games. And I wanted to. I want to ask some questions on whether the bowl, the postseason counts. I want to know, because if that counts, then that's a whole different scenario. You play your guy until he can't play anymore, and if we have this guy available during the postseason, you know, he's the best guy to put in. But I got to ask questions on that.
All right, 850 Kane heard a rumor. There's been a lot of injury rumors, and we have an agreement not to report on injuries. I'm going to preface that right now. He's asking about Mesidor. I saw him walking around just fine. I think it was yesterday or the day before when I was on campus. I don't believe this is accurate, but I'm going to preface it by saying that you know, we do have an agreement not to report on injuries. And
Mesidor, is that the kid from that came from USC?
No, well, Mesidor is the defensive end. He was hurt last year and missed a lot of time. He's been fine this year. They've been playing a lot at defensive tackle.
Where was he? Where is he from?
West Virginia, number 3. He came with Derek Porter.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, right? Yeah, I believe he's fine, but like I said, we cannot report on injuries.
Hey, there's one of the guys had a good question on here. Where was it? I was looking at it. He said, Lamar, what do you think about Sam Brown? He's had some easy drops. Do you think it's just nervousness? In a situation like that, sometimes kids just try too hard. He seems like a good kid. He's pressing a little bit. Just needs to calm down and when you transfer that many times, I would think that he understands this is his shot right here. You're at the best place to get the most notoriety. You're at Miami. They're playing well. You got Cam Ward. He's just you can't press, and that's what my advice to him when just talking to him. Just calm down. Let it all come to you. It's a long season. Just let it all come to you. I mean, Horton's playing well. Number 3 is doing his thing. Obviously, number 7, Restrepo, who just bust up in the top 10 on the receiving list. Congratulations to him. So, it's a long season. He just needs to relax and just stay within the game. And when he gets his opportunity, when you get your opportunity, I tell all the receivers, when you get your opportunity, you got to make the best of it. That's what it's about. Because as a coach, now I'm not concerned when I look back, when I see a guy go now, I just grab the guy behind me and throw him in. But if you ain't doing what you're supposed to, I'm looking at the guy get hurt. I look back to grab the guy. I'm thinking, oh, nah, stay out there. Stay out there. Stay. You're telling the guy that's hurt to stay out there because you're not too sure. And he's a good quality kid that was a starter at a couple other places. He just needs to relax because it only adds more depth to that receiver room if he's in the right frame of mind. And again, that's what Mario and his coaching staff is doing a great job of communicating with these players, making sure they don't get down. They don't get down on themselves. I mean, they're doing an awesome job just being around on those Wednesdays and just seeing all the help they have to talk to certain players. It's awesome to watch.
Restrepo, he's balling out like crazy. I mean, one of the most consistent football players I think we've seen here in a very long time, LT. But when I was watching these guys, like I look at Sam Brown. I mean, to me, he has the potential to be maybe the best of them all. I think he's in his head a little bit. I think he is, like you said, maybe trying too hard, a little unsure of himself. He came in late, which I think has really hurt him. Because all these other guys have a bond with Cam Ward that he does not have yet, I don't believe. But they're going to need him, LT, before the season's over. I really believe that.
Well, the great thing is, watching the 3 practices I went to, I saw those 3 days he was working after practice with Cam, trying to catch up, and that's important. If you don't have that relationship with the quarterback, the best way to get it is after practice because you're both tired. And, I've always believed that, if you can do it while you're tired, you can definitely do it while you're fresh because you got to be able to play the game in the fourth quarter and play it like it's the first quarter. So they're doing the right things. I think they're getting on the same page. I'm eager to see these next couple games, how he shows up and what he does.
All right, I see. We're going to let you go here in a moment. Before you do, though, any parting thoughts on what you're looking for this week?
I kind of said it a little bit at the beginning of the show. Cam Ward kind of touched on, 10 to 15 plays that he wasn't happy about. And, frankly, I saw a little bit, too, in the offense kind of stalling out in that final third of the field. I think it was twice they had the chance on 4th down, couldn't convert. So I kind of want to see them clean that up a little bit. And I really want to see Damian Martinez have kind of that, hey, I'm here type of game. Obviously, we've seen him a little bit in Florida. He had his first touchdown versus FAMU, but I really want to see, the Oregon State Damian Martinez, 100-plus yards, a touchdown, maybe multiple touchdowns. So those 2 things. And on the defensive side of the ball, they didn't let up a touchdown last game, even though with the back against the wall on the goal line, they stood strong. So I've been super happy with that side of the ball. I just want to see that offense take, a little bit more steps, especially in the running game. But besides that, I've been happy with these guys so far, 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen even come close to seeing the best of the Miami running game yet. So, maybe this will be the week they start busting out. All right, I see. Thanks as always for being part of the Lamar Thomas Show, and we will see you again next week.
I see.
I see the man. All right, LT.
Yes, sir.
Let's take this thing home with a little word association. There's a guy named Mike New. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Yeah.
He's the head coach at Ball State. Your words of advice.
Well, he's probably telling his team the MAC action has already upset the number 4 or 5 team they were in the country was Notre Dame. So they're on that, and somebody else played somebody real tough. So the MAC is getting their love, and he's trying to probably convince those kids that they have a chance to come down here and shock the world, as Notre Dame found out against NIU. But Mario is not going to allow that. Sorry, Mr. New, Coach New. He ain't going for that. Watching practice today, it's like we playing Ohio State. He ain't going for it. So I know what you're trying to do, Mr. New, but I think, just come on down. Hopefully nobody get hurt, and you going on. Maybe you can win the match, but it ain't gonna be today. It ain't gonna be down here. You're a good coach, you got a decent team, but it ain't gonna work. Mario is ahead of you, my brother. Sorry, Mr. New.
Michael Rawls jumped in my head and stole this one from me, so we're gonna give him credit for it.
Yes.
Isaiah Horton.
Man, I'm pleasantly surprised. Saw him last year. He was wearing like 16 or something. Weird look. He didn't look. This kid looks big this year. He looks tall. He looks consistent. He has. Just talking to him. I was talking to him about a couple of things about looking the ball into the tuck, 3 steps after you hit the indicator step. And I watched the kid after practice. He's doing all that stuff. I think his father saw his father after the game, and he was like, "Hey, whatever you telling my son, man, keep talking to him. It's helping him." I'm like, man, and to have that type, again, it goes with that depth thing. You got guys that are coming along and getting better. It's only going to make the group better because they're going to be competing. You watch them after practice, they're all trying to get better. They're running scramble drills with the quarterback, all this stuff to help get them better. It's very refreshing to watch. And I think this Horton kid is going to be dynamic. He's going to be dynamic. He just needs to come off the ball. You got to explode, come off the ball, put the fear of God into the DBs, make them make their mistakes.
Might be the most improved player on the team over last year. Might be. Might be playing great attitude, doing really well. Let's talk about Tyler Barron.
He's been well worth the money. He's playing. 3 sacks, couple sacks the first week. He is playing and he's excited about this opportunity. Man, you watch him on the sideline, man. He's 100 miles per hour. He is into it. This is a great opportunity for him to continue to be that other guy. So when they do get back Bain, you got a 1-2 punch to go along with Austin. The sky's the limit for this D-line. They've done a good job, Jason. They've done a great job of putting together this D-line. They got depth. They're a strength of the Hurricane football team. So I like it. I like him. Just watching him is contagious. Just watch him on the sideline. He's fired up, and I know all those other guys gotta be riding his coattail.
Yeah, when a guy at this stage of his career goes into the transfer portal, something's up. Mm-hmm. There's a reason. In most cases, in Cam Ward's case, he didn't like what was going on, what he was hearing from the National Football League. Didn't have a very good team at Washington State. He was putting up stats, yes, but he didn't have a very good O-line. They weren't winning. They were a 500 team. He knew that if he came to a place like Miami, there would be opportunity, but he really wanted to go to the NFL, and they weren't ready for him. And that's his reason. Tyler Barron, the people, they talk about maturity, things like that. Maybe didn't always do things the right way at Tennessee. and just needed a change of atmosphere. And he has come here and he has found the culture that has allowed him to grow up. He readily admits that. And he has matured in his few months here, and he is playing unbelievable football. He sees it, LT. He sees the light at the end of the tunnel. He knows he has the body to be an NFL defensive end. This is his moment to prove it to the league. Draft me high, and you will not be sorry. So, this is a great moment for him. Let's go with Mario Cristobal.
Well, I mean, this is a game, that he has to have those guys fired up, ready to play, so that they can develop some of those younger guys. You want to make sure he wants to make sure that, he wants to run the ball effectively, but he also wants to, obviously let his quarterback throw it around the yard a little bit, get some numbers up. But I think what he really wants out of this game is no injuries, and he wants to see a lot of those young guys continue to mature, get their next step, the next phase of the game, getting them a little bit more exposure in big-time college football, especially a lot of those younger guys, those freshmen. This is a good opportunity. So I know he has to be excited about the way the schedule sets up, and this is not Cal already, or in USF. Just it's Ball State. So not taking anything away from Ball State, but you're still Ball State.
All right, and we got the 35-year reunion coming up this weekend of the 1989 national championship team.
That's right. Coach Erickson. Coach Erickson is
show that off again. Show that off again.
That's 11-1. I really don't like wearing it because we lost to Florida State that year, but I still wear it every now and then just to throw it in their face that we made those shirts that said "F the game, we got the ring." So screw you, Florida State. But it's an 89 reunion. Coach Erickson is I think he's either on his way, he'll be here tomorrow. To see my coach, it was such a great man. He's like a father to us. He was definitely a player's coach, and we love him. He'll be down here in South Florida. He's getting older now, so we're going to embrace him. Who knows? I hope this is not the last time, but the fact that he's coming down for this game is a big deal for us. Again, he's like a father to us. I got an opportunity to coach with him, so I feel some type of way about him. I love him. It's gonna be some drinks flowing in South Florida. Let me tell you, there'll be some drinks flowing, and it's gonna be some drinks.
I guess he's not too old to drink, right, Lamar?
No, he ain't too old to drink now. The Bud Light. If you see Coach Harrison, he ain't never met a Bud Light he'll turn down. So if you see him out somewhere in Miami this weekend, just toast him up a Bud Light. He'll take it. He love him. He love him.
Does he still play golf?
Yeah, he goes out there a little bit. We last year, I think it was last year. Yeah, we played a couple holes. He'll probably go out there. He just enjoys being around the guys. Last year was myself, Sap, and Gino, and his son Ryan. Obviously, Sap is in Colorado, so we're trying to figure it out. Hell, we don't even know what we're gonna be able to do because of the rain, but I'm sure we'll be able to find a local pub somewhere, and he will be okay with that. We'll be posted up somewhere, and we will be talking old-time football. So if you ever want to talk some old-time football, he is definitely the guy to talk to. Can't wait to see my coach.
All right, LT. Well, another good week here on the show. We got to thank Kelvin Harris for coming on. I told everybody that it was going to be long and
sweet nasty
and thorough.
Sweet nasty. I didn't want to call him Sweet Nasty, but that's his nickname. I felt weird calling him Kelvin the whole time. I never called him that, but it's Kelvin, not Calvin. It is not Kevin. It's Kelvin. Is it Kelvin? Yeah, it's Kelvin Harris. Let me make sure I got that right. Kelvin, I think. All right.
We got to thank CaneSwear. Once again, your ultimate destination for all your Hurricanes merchandise. You see it behind me. You see it behind Lamar. You could shop them at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Oh, they gave you dinner. Listen. I'm going to give La Spada sub a shout out. They fed Lamar, and best subs in South Florida. So when you go to Caneswear, like if you go before the game on Saturday, you can pick up subs at La Spada. They're right next door. You will not be sorry. You'll get the greatest merchandise and some really good food to take with you to the stadium. Caneswear has everything you could possibly want. 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and of course Caneswear.com. And then, of course, we thank everybody that watched tonight, and we really appreciate you guys, and glad we were able to get to a lot of the questions that were in the live chat. We will be back next Wednesday night to talk about what we see on Saturday against Ball State. We'll have another special guest for you guys, and we will look ahead to that road trip to Tampa, where LT used to play some pro ball in that stadium over there. The Canes are coming to town, and 7 o'clock game on a Saturday night. So we'll be chopping it up about that next week as well. So until then, thanks again for watching. Have a great night, everybody.
Go Canes.